to do, you guys, to help you out. First of all, in order to complete this assignment, you need to be aware of what is required, right? So that's half the battle, is understanding what is required. So I'm going to share my desktop with you. I'm going to show you guys where to find the source, that what you need to get started on this. If you have questions as I'm talking, please put them in the chat box, okay? Or hop on the mic, whichever. Okay, so I'm going to go, this is my, I'm logged on to our class. So the first thing I want you guys to be aware of is there is a resource folder. If you click on content, albeit it's very slow. Well, why is it not working? Okay, hold on just a second. Oh, there, it's just really slow today. My goodness. Okay, so you guys see content right there? Hey, Gabby. Okay, so if you see content, you'll also see unit resources. So when you click on unit resources, you will see unit 4. So I went to content, unit resources, and unit 4. So when you open, now you can also find this within the lessons as well. Okay, I just happen to put them here too. So here is the assignment right here. You need to somehow either print this off or put it on your desktop somewhere where you can see it. So I'm going to download it. We're going to take a look at it. Do that. Okay, can you guys see where it says essay assignment overview on my desktop? All right, you see that? I am about blind. Y'all, I cannot see. Okay, so what it's telling you is they're talking about the emergence of the American mythology, right? And if you look at it, it tells you here are some things that you should have learned or that you have learned in the unit. Okay, they are set in the past. Okay, it says a nation's mythology shares several characteristics. The stories that make up a nation's mythology. They're set in the past, often in remote or exciting places and times. They're filled with remarkable, strange, or exaggerated characters. They feature incredible, heroic, impressive, magical, or mysterious events and consequences, and they convey a positive message about a nation or its people. So, what they want you to do is, after reading Rip Van Winkle, consider it as a story that helped create the American mythology. Then answer the following question in the form of a short essay. Your essay should have at least 5 paragraphs, an introductory paragraph, 3 body paragraphs, and a concluding paragraph. So here is the question that you are answering. It says, how does Irving incorporate at least 3 of the above characteristics into Rip Van Winkle? What is the impact of these characteristics on the reader's experience of the story? Be sure to include examples of your response. So I am not going to go over all of this here with you because you can read that, right? Any questions at this point before I go on? No questions? Okay. Is everybody feeling good about this part, understanding what the expectations are? Okay. So it also gives you, let me go back to where I was. This is the rubric that you'll be graded on. So make sure that make sure you study this rubric and you read it and you understand what I'm going to be looking for in the essay. Okay. So there's your rubric. There's your standard that I'm going to judge your essay. I hate that word judge. I shouldn't have said that. I should have said evaluate. It has to be between 300 and 500 words, 1 to 2 pages in length. I prefer it to be double spaced because it's just easier for me to read. And it's worth 100 points. Okay, so then I'm going to go back to our content. Okay, this is the student guide. This will help you gather your thoughts. Okay, so what you can do is you can download this and you can just kind of just print it out, right? Or whatever's easier for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the space below to write notes or examples. So for example, these are the elements that make up an American mythology, right? So you're going to read Rip Van Winkle and you're going to find examples from the text of remote places or times. Well, obviously it's set in the past, right? Strange or exaggerated characters. Well, when you read that story, you know, when Rip Van Winkle, he goes to the mountains and he falls asleep, he encounters these little strange creatures. They look kind of like gnomes or elves, and they're bowling in the woods, okay? Magical or mysterious events. Well, what mysterious event happens in Rip Van Winkle? What strange things happen? What strange thing happens to him? Anybody? What strange thing happens to Rip Van Winkle? Goes to the woods, sees those little strange people dressed in old timey clothes, bowling. What happens to him? Nobody knows. Okay, Keenan, you need to read the story. Okay, that is key. All right, if guys, you have to read the story first, or you will. This does not make sense to you if you haven't read the story. The story is in your book. Okay, I also, I think on the video I did a read. Let me go back and look at our content here. The story's in your book, or you can just type Rip Van Winkle in the chat or do a web search and you can find it. You need to read the story first. If you haven't done that, you cannot do this essay. Okay, so he sleeps for 20 years and he wakes up and everything's changed. So positive messages about America or its people, I leave that to you. When you read the story, you can figure that out for yourself. Okay, what questions? At least you're honest, Keenan. I appreciate that. All right, so here's what I did. I decided that I was going to write an essay as well. But I was not going to use Rip Van Winkle because that's what you guys are writing about. I used another story by Washington Irving. Hold on, my computer's going really slow today. Okay, so this talks about drafting an essay. Okay, drafting an essay. So let's take a look at that. That's a Word document. Okay, this tells you how to put together your essay. And I'm not going to read that because you guys are smart, intelligent people, and you guys can read that on your own. So this tells you the parts of the essay, what to put in your introduction, what to put in the body paragraphs, and then what to put in your concluding paragraph. Reread the literary work for a better understanding. So if you haven't done that, you need to make sure that you read it. This is a really nice little document here. So make sure that you are familiar with that. All right, so let me go back again to our content. So what I did was I wrote an essay as well. This is my draft. I wrote about the devil and Tom Walker. Okay. I didn't write about Rip Van Winkle because that's what you guys are writing about. But I applied the same requirements to this essay. And it is a rough draft, believe me. I didn't finish my final. So when you can go type this, you can go print this off. You can use this format if you need to. So if you look here, when I type essays or when I write essays, the hardest part is getting started sometimes, right? And sometimes when I am writing, I'll think, I don't really know what goes here. But instead of stopping, I'll just make notes to myself. Okay. I'll just make notes to myself. Okay. So my introduction, make sure you have a title, which I haven't titled mine yet. So you always tell the author's full name and the title of the work you're talking about. So what I did, okay, again, this needs to be fleshed out a little more. I said the story has become part of the American mythology because of the remote setting, the supernatural characters, and the mysterious events and their consequences. So this is called, you guys, a 3-point thesis. So this is going to be a body paragraph right here, the remote setting. This is going to be a paragraph, the supernatural characters, and this is going to be a paragraph, the mysterious events. I don't care if you guys use this thesis statement. You can vary it if you want to. I do want you to flesh out your introduction a little better than I did here, but you guys can use this thesis statement if it helps you. So my first body paragraph will refer to my thesis. One reason the devil and Tom Walker serves as an example of America's literary mythology is the setting. Okay. Remember on our previous document, it said the setting is remote places. It's in the past. And so I said, for the devil and Tom Walker, it's set in 1827 and most of the action takes place in a swamp. And I said, and I just talk about the swamp a little bit, is home to great gloomy pines and hemlocks. And I just give examples of the swamp and how it is a remote, out of the way setting. Now, I had a note. I didn't want to stop writing. So I said, okay, note to self, I need a concluding sentence for this paragraph. Always end a paragraph in your own words, not a quotation. So here's my second body paragraph. So I am reminding the reader that first of all, I talked about the setting. And now I'm going to talk about the supernatural characters. Okay, note to self, check essay requirements. I'm not crazy about this sentence, may need to revise it later. So these are notes to myself where I can go back and fix it. It says, as the title of the story indicates, the supernatural character is the devil himself. So then I talk about the supernatural character is the devil, and I give some examples from the text of, Tom's interaction with the devil and when the devil describes who he is. So then this is my second body paragraph. Here is my third body paragraph. The final characteristic of the American literary mythology, I left out a word here, seen in the devil and Tom Walker, is the mysterious events and their consequences. Okay, so then I go on and I describe what happens. Basically, and I'm not going to read this, Tom makes a deal with the devil, right? And obviously, when you make a deal with the devil's going to win. So he makes a deal with the devil, and he lives for years and years. He does very well financially. He's a rich man. And as he gets older, he starts to realize, hey, I probably shouldn't have done this. I probably shouldn't have made a deal with the devil. So he tries to act all good and pious and go to church, but it doesn't do any good. Because at the end, the devil has his due and he takes Tom to hell on a huge black horse. So those are my 3 body paragraphs. Now, my concluding paragraph does not restate everything. Well, I mean, I do refer to the story that I'm writing about, and I sort of restate my thesis statement in kind of different words. So again, note to self, not sure I like this, review the thesis. You mean like this? Okay, the introduction, right, Jada, and then the body paragraph. To me, like this, are you talking about the first body paragraph? I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. And his name is Rip. Yeah, yeah. So you would actually start. You're actually going to mention Rip Van Winkle because that's the story you're writing about, right? So always in your introduction, you're always going to mention the complete author's complete name and the complete title of the story. Make sure you capitalize it and punctuate it correctly, and you just kind of give a tiny bit of background about that. And then at the end of your introductory paragraph will come your thesis statement. And starting here is where you will start talking about Rip Van Winkle. Okay, does that help? I'm sorry, guys. For some reason, my words are not coming out right today. Y'all ever have days like that? Okay, what other questions do you guys have? I think I did do a read aloud for you guys for this story. But if I did not, guys, remember you can, for a lot of these stories, you can go online and do, read aloud, Rip Van Winkle read aloud, and you can find somebody reading it out loud for you. And sometimes when I'm tired, maybe I don't feel like reading, I will do that. I'll just listen. All right. So Jada, if that answers your question, you are free to go. What about you, Keenan and Gabby? Does that help you, Keenan?